Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. Thank you for being here, my beautiful listener. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so grateful and honored to be sharing with you some important stuff today. This stuff was, I think, just my intuition telling me at times in my life, but I did not have the strength, the certainty to think that these are the truth. Like, knowing and applying this stuff does not actually make you a bad person. Like, you have a good heart. If your boundaries are being crossed, your body feels that and your emotions tell that to you. There is nothing wrong with you. And if I knew any one of these magic rules, boundaries, earlier in my life and actually applied them, I would have applied them if someone told me that, this is the truth, this is something they've applied. They still love their family, and it has changed their life tremendously. I would have. The reason I'm doing this podcast is to speak to you, reach to all the sensitive, highly sensitive souls who are looking for answers, who are looking for maybe even just confirmations that what they're feeling inside is telling them something. If they're feeling like something is off, there is really something off there. And I just want to give you the guidance on how to hold your boundaries and also the clarity of what is actually happening. And I will be always holding your hand through this path, through this journey. Today, our topic is magic rules/boundaries for adult kids of narcissists. So if you're listening to this episode, maybe there is some, let's say, difficulty in the dynamics with your parents, or that one or both of your parents are narcissists, or you're just new to the subject, you're not really sure, you don't even know if there is any problem in the dynamics of the relationship, but you're just curious to listen. And so welcome to all of you. So we're going to talk about magic rules/boundaries for adult kids of narcissists. That's going to change the game for you. This stuff, if you listen, if you understand, if you find your own truth in it, Again, it doesn't matter what I'm saying, but what you find in it that is applicable to your life, that resonates with you. And if you actually implement them, if you start actually implementing, wow, this is all about practicing. When you start actually, not like talking about it or being angry at someone or really wanting to implement them or really wanting to things change. It's not about that. This is about actually start implementing, being assertive in your boundaries. This is actually doing it. This is actually doing it, my dear. So what I see so often happens around me is that people know that there is a problem in the dynamics with their parents, meaning there has always been a problem, meaning it is most probably bigger than what they think, because we are so good at, as young kids, as young children, as toddlers, babies, teenagers, we are so good at putting different meanings into things, meaning like suppressing our emotions, of course, not really seeing what's happening, like what's being actually done to us in that moment, how the person is acting, what they're saying, in what moment, how they're saying it, their facial expressions, their energies, the kind of repetition this kind of behavior has, like the kind of repetition they do it with, how it plays out in our life. It's really incredible that we are so affected by what happens if we don't do anything about it, of course. If we start doing the things and if we start hearing about the stuff in our community, then it becomes easier for us and faster for us to get over all of that and make it our strength. When you start implementing the things that we talk about here in this episode, in other episodes, when you actually start doing that, this is the good news. It actually becomes the wind to your sailboat. What you have been through actually becomes the ugliest, the most terrible, the most painful, the things that made you suffer, the things that sabotaged you, your life and your potentiality, and those things become the wind to your sailboat. So they are not the anchors in our life anymore. So we are not sitting and being frustrated, like feeling frustrated about it and wasting our time and energy on that and just like getting up and having the same experience and feeling even more defeated the next time. And the cycle goes on and on like that. And the cycle has many different things. There is guilt, shame. You go back, you try to do the same thing. Again, the same result, but you're so good at hoping. We're going to talk all about this in this podcast in general. But what I want to say is that this stuff is not our anchor. The things that we went through, the BS we went through, like really when you wake up to it, it's the BS, like total BS. Like when you start actually seeing things, you become so intolerant to it that if the same person does the same thing in the same situation to your child, you would not tolerate it. You wouldn't. If you actually saw the scenes in your life as you were a child, what you were going through, but in an honest way, not like minimizing the behavior, because human beings are sensitive. So little things are actually very, very effective. So you become so intolerant. So you do not tolerate the BS anymore. When you start seeing, if you let that shit happen to you now, it is the same exact thing as if you were watching yourself or watching your child, watching yourself as a kid or watching your child go through the same thing and not do anything about it. And even on top of that, find excuses for the abuser. Finding excuses for their behavior. And when I say abuser, they don't need to be like doing something physical, or they don't need to be doing something that society right now needs to accept it as a trauma. If it's affecting you in a way that you play smaller than you are, you feel not worthy, you don't feel enough, you are dimming your lights in any kind of way, that is abuse. And that is not acceptable. You become clear about what has happened, what is happening, what the other person is doing, what the narcissist or the person who has narcissistic tendencies, narcissistic behavior towards you. They don't need to have the full-blown narcissistic personality disorder to be affecting your life in a like a deep, 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 deep way. They don't need to have the personality disorder. I'm going to repeat this in many different episodes. We're going to go deeper into this stuff so you can actually see who is a narcissist or who has a narcissistic behavior towards you or not. Let's begin. Number 1, keep things to yourself. Keep things to yourself. Keep things to yourself. If you are an adult child of someone who had narcissistic behavior towards you in any area of your life, again, they don't need to be, they don't need to have the personality disorder. They don't need to be acting in a narcissistic way in every area of your life to be affecting every area of your life. They can do this stuff in a very, very, very subtle way, and that's why it's more effective. I'm going to repeat this over and over again, and we're going to go deeper in different ways with different examples, with different aspects of the situation in different episodes. So just stay tuned. Today, the first thing we're going to talk about is keeping things to yourself when you are dealing with a narcissistic parent. Nope, doesn't matter what age you are. You can be a 60-year-old woman. You can be a 40-year-old man. You can be a 30-year-old woman. Like, it doesn't matter. Keeping things to yourself is super important dealing with a narcissist. If you have a narcissistic parent, and if you think the other parent is the codependent one, meaning like they have served that darkness in some ways, meaning tolerating it, not being able to stand up for you in a real way when you were a child, a teenager, in your 20s, whatever. Maybe they even show some small, tiny narcissistic traits, or they're both narcissistic in very different areas of your life, which is very difficult. And I send you so much love. You've got the power to deal with all of this. That's why you chose those parents. You've got what it takes. And once you start being honest with yourself, like not blaming anyone, we're not here to blame, shame, point fingers, doesn't matter. But what we are here to do is to see things clearly, start taking action, make changes. So we're not asking them to change, or we are not waiting or hoping them to change. We change our behavior around them, about them. When you're really clear about it, when you have the certainty, when you are honest with yourself, when you have the clarity, the total clarity, and it takes bravery, it takes courage. It does not mean that you're not scared. You're scared, you grieve, you have sorrow, you feel pain. It's sad, you cry. It's it's a journey when you start truly realizing what's happening. I'm not talking about like reacting or being in that situation in that moment, like actually being able to pull yourself out from it and see the whole picture of what is repeating in your life in different ways. And this can even seem like this. I'm going to give you an example. You might have had a very difficult relationship, like dynamic, not in every area of your life with this person, but you might have very difficult, painful moments with this person. You remember it clearly. And as you grow older, you might think and see that their behavior is actually changing, because as you are growing and changing, they are growing and changing in their own way, And what's really important here is this. They might be still behaving in a narcissistic way towards you, and you might have no idea. The more hidden it is, the more influential it is. The deeper it affects you is because it's more hidden, it's more subtle. That's why, because it's pushing the right buttons that were created as you were a child or a year, like earlier in your life. They were already created, and they were done in a way that they were done in a way that was just the right way. I don't want to make this part too long, because I'm going to go actually do episodes just on this stuff of like what happened, how it affected you, why it's so effective in your life, like what went down and what's going on now. But I just want to like go into this a little bit now, so you have an idea of why I'm saying the things I'm saying here. The thing that is important, because I'm talking to adults here, obviously, that you might think that this person has actually changed. What happened is in the past. And that might not be the case. And you would have, maybe you have no idea. Just because the intensity of their behavior is not the same does not mean that their behavior is their energy. That whole thing is not affecting you as much as it did before, maybe even more now. And I will tell you a tip for you to understand this. If the area of the narcissist that they were, I'm not going to say competing now, because you don't see it like that. You don't see that they were competing with you, but they actually were. It's like the core of everything, but because they only compete, it's how they function. So they bring others down to feel better about themselves. That's just how it works for them. As sad as it sounds, as like shocking as it may be for an empath or a highly sensitive person, that is just the truth of it. So here is the tip for you to see. Just one of them, by the way. This is not the thing that defines everything, but it's just a tip that I have found in my life, in my journey. If the area that they were giving you a hard time on, that they were causing a lot of pain in your life, if in that area you are not where you want to be right now, in an honest way, okay? It doesn't mean that if it's career, you're making lots of money, but you're not fulfilled, or you're doing something that you hate, or it's, you know, that it's not your soul calling, or you even feel bad or guilty about your job or whatever it is, that it means like you're not thriving, okay? If the area of your life, they were being so harsh on you, okay? And it can be your romantic life, or just you being an individual. It can be anything. If you are not thriving in that area of your life right now, or if you haven't even begun to create that incredible thing in your life, if you are not in that, I don't want to say journey, because you might be in the journey, but you might not be getting the results that you want. So if you haven't started seeing in 3D, in reality, the relationship, the business, the career, the wealth, abundance, just feeling good about your life, that you are the creator of your life, like you are the one that makes the choices from their heart. Like if you are not feeling that, whatever area that is for you, that was so painful about them, if you are not there yet in an honest way, that means that they're still doing it. And now it might be even more dangerous because, first of all, you became numb to some of their behavior. You have normalized it so much. You are not numb, by the way, to what they're doing, but you are just ignoring your pain because you have given enough excuses for their behavior. So you just roll with it and maybe not accommodate it, but it feels like accommodating it if you're not making a change. So that's why you feel frustrated, angry, blah, blah, blah. And the second thing is it's maybe even more dangerous now because they are doing it in such a subtle way that you're not even realizing as it is happening, as you are letting them, as you are exposing yourself to that BS, as you are playing small and small and small every single day. And you go back to it, you always have hope. This is the cycle and you can break it. You can break it like you can break that cycle. And this is all about it. This podcast is all about you breaking that freaking cycle and you liberating yourself like in a true way. Because once you break that cycle, nothing is going to be the same ever again in a very profound way. So that's why it may be that you think they've changed, they're not acting that way anymore, they're being more respectful. Now I can create the life I want, but because they're it's their energy and it's the subtle things that they do and it's the things that you have actually accepted so deeply in yourself about them that you just let them, be that way. You just play small, you don't say anything around them about that thing. Like when it's talked about around you and you feel small, you play small, you make yourself small, you dim your light. We'll go all into that. Like today, I'm not going to talk all about all of this because we're at point 1 right now. And point 1 is keep things to yourself. But I'm saying all of this so that if you think they've changed, maybe they haven't. And a great way to see it is, are you actually creating that incredible life? Are you on that path right now? Are you seeing the results? Are you living your life differently? How does your life feel? Your day? How does it feel? So the first boundary, the magic rule is keeping things to yourself. This is so important because if you are a child of a narcissist, most probably you have improved your abilities of a codependent. So you might not be totally codependent, but you might have the tendencies, the characteristics of a codependent. So one of the codependent codependent traits is that you, of course, long for confirmation and approval, especially from that person. Like no matter like who gives you the confirmation, you just long for that confirmation. It is like the confirmation that you never got. So you made the decision, you thought to yourself, not thought to yourself, you just made the decision unconsciously as whatever age you were, that getting the approval from that person is the true confirmation, true approval, true sign that I am something, someone, I'm enough, I'm worthy, I've succeeded now, like I've done it, I won the game, like whatever it is for you. So if you have the tendency, or like not being even aware of it, but just because this person had never given you the confirmation, the approval, and it can be any kind of thing, any kind of way that you're longing for, you might not be even aware of, you tend to give away information. And that turns back on you. Whatever your failure, whatever your success, whatever you were excited about, whatever your desire is to create in your life, like whatever your, like God forbid, you talk about your dreams, the business you want to create, the blah, blah you want to do, the new thing you want to do, whatever, your dreams, your desires, your hopes, your ambitions, your mission. Don't share any of this stuff with this person. Don't share your success. Don't share your failure. And if you're curious about why, we're going to go deeper into all of this stuff. And you will realize as you make the decision not to share any of this anymore because you don't need their approval. And it never benefits you when you share, by the way. Like if you have realized as I'm talking about this, it never benefits you. And I'll talk about the why on another podcast, on another episode, but it never benefits you. Never give any kind of bait to their hand to play with about you, especially about things that you're vulnerable about, especially about things that you were abused about, the things that they hurt you about so much, whatever that area is. Do not talk about the good things. Do not talk about the bad things. There's no good and bad, but I'm just saying it in a simple way. If you're happy about something, don't talk about it with them. Don't share. You don't need to. There are other people you can share it with, and you don't have to share like the new things with people. Keep things to yourself. Just go with it. Just do it every day. Be in your path. Just do it. You being the witness of that is enough, actually. And you approving it is actually enough. So as good as it may sound to share something that you've just started, it can be anything, okay? Maybe you want to lose weight and you've just started working out and it's the thing that they made you feel so unworthy about. Don't tell them that you've started a new routine. Don't. Never share that information with them. And better yet, do it like in such a silent way that they're not even aware that you were focusing on making such huge changes in your life, that you're giving so much of your energy and focus and intention and commitment. And like, you might be listening to things, doing things, practicing things, learning things, being trained, being coached, like whatever it is. Do not share. Do not share. And when you are in that path and when you start actually getting like different results than you've never ever gotten before, you're going to actually start giving that confirmation to yourself. Like it's that beautiful path begins. That beautiful path begins where you just feel so joyful and happy. You give the confirmation to yourself. You get your power back. You have your clarity. The self-doubt is gone because you're not exposed to that BS. You never had self-doubt in you. You never had self-doubt in you. All the BS, all the limiting beliefs, all the self-doubt, uncertainty, the things that you want to do, but you step back, you just maybe put your toes in the water a little bit, but you just give up, you go back, you talk about it, you think you're doing something about it, but you're actually not doing anything about it. All that stuff was given to you by whom? They were not given to you by the books you read or the movies you watched or the friends you hang out with. They were not given to you by pills. They were not given to you by God. They were not given to you by the universe. They are not your personality traits or character traits. They're not things that you were born with. They are not things that bad people outside on the street gave to you. Like, I'm not talking about like big traumas, by the way. I'm just talking about the subtle things that really affect you in a big effing way in your life. What we have to face is that all the stuff that everyone is going through, and what we are going through collectively as well, I believe, the only problem we need to solve is the parenting stuff. Like, every BS that you have in your life, every limiting beliefs, every self-doubt, fear, hesitation, or feeling like you're not enough, or blah, 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 that all came from your parents. I'm sorry to say. It is that clear. So what hurts you right now, it was actually given to you by people who you think loves you the most, who you may love the most, you may be spending your life around the most, who you think is the sacred thing, the family is the sacred thing, but it's actually not. Like, right now in society, family is not experienced or honored in a way that it should. I don't want to go through it right now. I might start really getting hyped up about it, but we just need to wake up to the fact that the things that we're struggling with, the things that stop you from creating your incredible life, were given to you by your parents. Most probably 90% of the time, they are given to you by your parents. And then it is even more supported by other family members, extended family members, all the people that you felt shit, like BS around. All of that is caused by family, all family stuff. So we're just at point 1 now, but yeah, the first thing is keep things to yourself. You will realize that you don't even need to share stuff with your friends, with your family. Like, you just do it. You just be on that path. They will see the results when you have the results. You don't need to share. That path takes so much strength, so much courage, so much different turns and things that you don't expect. It will require you to show up in a different way every day. It will require you to show up in a strong way where there is so much unclarity. You will need to create that clarity for yourself, and you will create the magic. But it will require for you to act differently, it will require you to be exposed to the good stuff, the people who have actually accomplished what you were looking for. You need to be exposing yourself to all the things that will give you strength, capabilities, mindsets, all of that. And so do not share the things that really excite you. Just do it. They will see it. And you will have time to share if you want to. But honestly, it becomes like you will know only the very few people that you will want to share, even the journey, even when it's like when you've gone through it. You don't need to share. And that is leaving the codependency, so you don't see yourself through the other person's eye. You are not looking for that confirmation or the validation anymore. You don't need someone telling you that it's going to be okay. You do that to yourself. And you don't even you don't even feel the need to tell yourself it's going to be okay when you're feeling the fear, the doubt, the whatever. you just work on building the muscle, and in a consistent way, you do it every single day. You spend your time effectively, consciously on things that really build that muscle. So you are just exposing yourself to the good stuff. So all of that is going to your subconscious, and that creates magic in your life because it's so different to what you're used to. Yeah, and if you think about the times that you actually shared things, you might look back and realize some of the things you did not even take steps towards to. You don't even remember that you wanted to do those things. It did not even sprout out because that relationship is not the place for that dream to be seeded or to be supported or to be nourished. That desire, that mission, that path, that whatever is not going to be nourished in that dynamic. It's the total opposite, no matter what you are hoping. It doesn't matter what you're hoping from that relationship. It's not going to change. So that brings me to my second point, the second magic rule boundary for adults, kids of narcissists is give up on the potentiality of that relationship. It is time for you to give up on the potentiality of that relationship, but really doing it in a true way, in an honest way. All the connection you were hoping for, the love, they might love you, by the way. I'm not talking about them loving you or not, but the kind of true deep connection, respect, belief in you, support, really seeing you for who you are, acceptance, respect. Again, respecting the young ones are crucial. The kids respect elders anyways, most of the time. We have to talk about respecting the young ones. You will never get that, the potentiality you're hoping for every time you're going to spend time with them. Think about the feeling you have when you're about to see them. It can be anyone in your family. Talking about the narcissist or the one with the narcissistic traits, behaviors, tendencies. Think about the moments that you're about to see them, that you're about to spend time with them. Think about how you feel on the way there. Think about how you feel the day before you're going to see them. You always have that love that you are not even aware that you're hoping. Like it may not be consciously that you're, like most probably it doesn't go like this in your brain. Oh, I hope they will treat me well this time. Oh, I hope they will be like, it might be happening more in your other relationship where there is narcissism, but most probably if the narcissistic parents who I'm going to like give you so much clarity about that you're not even aware of that there is like true narcissism. You think it's only like maybe some difficulty, blah, 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 their childhood wounds and blah, blah, blah. Most probably with that person, your thought is not, oh, I hope they do this time. Oh, I hope we have this experience this time. Most probably, you're not even aware you're hoping for that. you are just romanticizing the relationship. So you are imagining in your head that it's going to be the way that you're hoping for, that you imagine it to be, that is like the natural thing for you, because that's how you feel to your loved ones. That's what you give. So you expect the same thing. The other stuff is always very shocking to you. Every time what they do is shocking for you, but it might feel differently every time. You might not feel like you're shocked or shook, but it's actually a shock because you don't see it coming, because it's something that is not natural to you. It is not something that you would do to your own child. You can't even imagine doing that stuff to your child with repetition, with no repair, years and years on end. So some people call it limerence as well, and it repeats itself in romantic relationships in your life because you're hoping for that potentiality, but it's only a dream potentiality. It's not going to happen. So with this person, with your parent who has the narcissistic tendencies, when you're about to go see them, I am sure you can think back to it and really understand, oh yeah, every time I'm going to see them, I have this hope, this dream, this whatever it is, but it's a potentiality. It does not actually happen. Maybe they don't do something that hurts you every time. Maybe they don't do that every time, but there is that lack of being seen, for being supported, for those small gestures that we do to our loved ones, because we see it every time we see them. We see what they actually need, like what we can actually give them. Those small gestures that are everything. One of my dear friends told me, like, I don't know, I think a couple of months ago, and it stood by me. And I'm going to tell her this. It was so beautiful. And we were talking about something completely different. But she said, small things are actually big things. Because I realized in my life, as we were talking about this, we were talking about how like some people in some places in the world just like treat you differently, act differently, just the life itself, the energy, the synergy is so different. How people interact in a general way, not everyone, everywhere we have assholes, but just in a general way. And I was like telling her, experiencing this and that makes me happy. And she was telling me the same thing, how like we were talking about how in where I live in Brazil, people say my love to you when you're out in a grocery store, and the cashier says my love to you when you're asking a question or like getting service from them. It is the most it is the most beautiful thing for me. She was actually giving me that example, and she looked at me and said, small things are actually big things. And it stayed with me because of maybe the way she said it. She was so like certain about it. It's like she had found a secret, because it really is the secret. We're never told this stuff, because I was feeling terrible living in Turkey. It was a terrible experience for me. Like every day, terrible. Like going out of the house, going to a grocery store, going to a coffee shop, getting coffee, waiting in the line, being exposed to that BS, especially the people who have the money, who have the education, who has all the privileges in the world. They were the most a-holes, which was like mind-blowing to me, because you have to be like grateful for your life. Like, what's the rush? Like, what are you doing? Whatever. So, yeah, it's like completely different. And it's the way the people are causing it's the way the people are that is causing all the other stuff. It's not situation is bad or people are like that. It's the other way around, I believe. It's people creating the collective everything. And it's a choice. It's like a clear choice. So yeah. And that would have like made me so sad. And every day I would come home feeling drained. And I just could not understand how people could do that to others in such a like a blindfolded way, and they have the right to act like this. So yeah, in certain cultures, narcissism is much, much, much higher. In every culture, everywhere in the world, we have narcissism. And it's actually getting like deeper and deeper, because the adults that I'm speaking to, like the adults right now who are 30 years old, 40 years old, most probably someone very close to them is a narcissist in their family. But if you're in Turkey or Middle Eastern country, most probably you have a lot of narcissists in your family. If you're coming from a wounded history, I mean, it is just unacceptable. And when you think of your ancestors, the women and the men and the children who did not have the chance, now you have the chance to make a change. And accommodating that kind of behavior in your family, accommodating that and serving that darkness is not love. It's actually serving the darkness when you let that happen to you, because you let something that is dimming your life every single day more and more, which is causing more death spiritually in yourself. So small things are big things, and small things are big things definitely for a child. So let's just be honest about it, and let's not minimize what we went through, and let's just face it so we can make a change now in a certain, like a true way, so you don't even feel angry to the person. Because like, let me tell you, when you start making the change, the resentment dissipates. There is no high emotions. The high emotions are there when you are continuing letting that happen to you. And it can be in subtle ways, I repeat. It can be in ways that are so hidden that you don't even see it anymore. So giving up on the potentiality of that relationship is very important, because when you realize that it is what they are, like what they will do, how they function, it's just the way they are. It's not going to change. 95% of narcissists don't change. Or they might change a little bit, of course, during their lifetime, but you need to be very clear about your boundaries. You don't need to, let them go. You can still have a beautiful relationship with them without sharing important information about your life. And you understand to see that it is not about your worth, it is not about your value, and it is not about your performance. So it is not about you doing this better, or trying this one this time, or being more lovable, or now we're going to connect. This time it's going to be that happy family synergy dynamic. Now this time people will actually see each other. Now this time people will actually give everyone the space and time to talk on that dinner table. Now this time that a-hole, narcissist, whatever person in my family is not going to be jealous and competing with me. And you can see in their eyes that they're scared that something good is going to happen to you. You can see that. They're terrified that you're going to talk about something that is actually going fantastic in your life. And you don't have to share any of that with them. And we're going to talk about and giving details about different types of narcissists, narcissistic tendency people, and what you can do. Because there are very different types of narcissists in every family. And the third magic rule / boundary for adult kids of a narcissist is set boundaries without them noticing. Okay? Set boundaries without them noticing that you're actually doing something differently because you made a certain decision with certainty. This is very important. Your behavior might start changing towards them, but they should not know that you're doing all of that with an actual decision you have made. They don't know that that kind of behavior or the lack of is not coming from a decision you made. I hope I'm clear. I know I am. I want you to understand it. Set boundaries, make changes, and you don't need to tell them this. This is just an example, okay? Like it can be different things for different people, different situations, and we will talk about different things. But right now I'm talking about a very general thing that you can relate to with someone in your life. Set boundaries without them noticing. And why I'm saying without them noticing, so they don't come at you like for that. So you don't cause like problem for yourself, like the reason that you're making that change. So it can be seeing them less. This might be one of the boundaries that you have started applying, but they do not know you're not seeing them because you made the decision. They think you don't see, like they think it's just a coincidence. Oh, I'm busy this time. This came up. I really wanted to be there. Like making it even seem like, not like exaggerating it, but making it seem like you actually wanted to be there, but this thing came up. So like you're disappointed as well, but not like going through like details of it, not like exaggerating this feeling for them, but just like acting as though you not going for that dinner thing or whatever it may be, but you're not going for that gathering, that whatever, that family stuff, you're not going this time. And it just happens to be that this thing came up about work, you really wanted to go, but it's just like, and they know like sometimes last minute, depending on what type of person they are, but let it go unnoticed as much as you can, and you can do it. Let it go unnoticed. Like there is no bad blood between you, that there is like no bad energy. You can apply this to many, many narcissists in your family. They don't need to be your parents, by the way. But keep your time to yourself. Be in your own energy as much as possible. As you spend more time in your own energy and you start seeing that difference and getting your energy back and feeling differently and thus acting differently in your life, creating differently in your life, you're going to love that feeling and you're going to want it more. So it will be even more difficult for you to expose yourself to the BS as often as you did before. But I know this is tricky because that limerence comes, that hoping for that potentiality comes because you don't see them that way and you don't have to. You never have to put a label on them. You never have to do it in a way. You can do it with grace. You can do it with love. You can do it with love for yourself and for them and with no bad feelings around it. And you can still, I promise you, have a wonderful relationship. And you can be lovey-dovey. You can show them that you love them. You can have conversations with them that is not going to go into that area, but more of like the surfacey stuff. But you're still connecting because you're still having that bond with them, that mother relationship, that father relationship. You're still having something. but you have given up on the potentiality of what could have been if you were the parent. Okay? And so it's not discussing or going into topics, especially where you are more vulnerable, the stuff that they caused pain for you earlier in your life, and do the work consistently outside of that circle. Be committed to yourself. Be committed to your path. Be committed to your happiness. It's for the benefit of all, I promise you. It's for the benefit of everyone. And you're just going to see the magic results afterwards. Everyone will benefit from that in a good way, in a positive way, in a healthy way. And the last thing I want to share with you is, with action, you create more certainty. So it's not thinking about something that creates the consistent certainty in your body. It is coming to that energy, like doing whatever it takes to get you, like tuning yourself every single day with your morning ritual, with things you expose yourself into, this kind of like podcasts you listen to, the things that will give you the tools, the tips, the mindsets, whatever it is. But spend time with things and expose yourself to things that will give you more strength, more courage, more abilities, more clarity. And thus, this way, you gain your power back. And oh my, you will be surprised of what you are capable of creating. And you're going to be pleasantly surprised to see what you can actually create. That vision that you have for your life, that tinkling, like maybe some scenes you see of your future, some feeling you get, whatever it is for you, however you see the future. But that vision you have for your incredible life, that is actually meant for you. That's why you have it, because it's actually your natural state. And you just got to tune back to that. And for that, you need to create healthy boundaries and be assertive in them, and know that you have a good heart, and that is the most loving thing that you can do on this planet. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode. I love you. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Khewella. That is Khewella. Khewella. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.